Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, it's Grand Party, the greatest party of them all. And in today's video, we're taking on our day 1 fights for season... I don't even know what season we're in. I honestly couldn't even tell you. But in today's video, we're utilizing the new and improved lUFFY YAMATO. Now, I did record these fights whilst I was at a barbecue, and I was very intoxicated, so I don't remember any of these at all. All I remember doing is making sure that I was going up against Gear 5. Gear 5 is really interesting because he's throwing a complete spanner into the works. I do remember giving myself a massive headache trying to figure out what to use against what, and seeing a lot of different variety when it comes to Gear 5. Now, lUFFY YAMATO still aren't perfect. Their passive is still incredibly good. They've got an insane passive, but they did get a buff where you only need to do 5 power attacks, I believe, to get their burst off. Now, the issue with this unit, as you guys can see here, is we're not doing any power attacks. So we're not actually getting our burst ready to go to actually take down some units. However, now, with it being reduced, the Free Spirit team in particular, I believe, if I remember correctly, the Free Spirit team is the one team that can actually do some power attacks. So we do manage to get the burst off. I do remember utilizing it. I have seen it as I'm, like, sort of putting the overlay and stuff together today. So, I did want to sort of test them out. I did want to sort of give them a run, and I did want to try them out. Obviously, I didn't pull Gear 5 on the part 1 of the banner, and because I was so busy, I didn't have enough time, or I didn't have the facilities, let's call it, to actually test a bunch of different teams like I normally would do when it comes to Grand Party. Stereotypically, I'll stream and I'll play Grand Party for like 3-4 hours and just test out teams, see what people are running. But because I was out for like the Gear 5 day, I didn't do that. I just did 3 fights. I picked some Gear 5s just sort of see, because I figured everyone's going to be running Gear 5 by the back end. And we'll just see what's floating around. Now, as you can see, we used a striker team first up. As you can see down the bottom there, they're the 3 teams that I'm using. We're using a striker team, a dex team, and a free spirit team. lUFFY YAMATO boosts strikers and free spirits, and then dex is being boosted under the rule set for this month. Free spirits, fighters, they're all getting buffs as well, and so are strength units. So that's always nice. Now, we basically just managed to clutch this fight out. Pretty easy stuff. However, their lUFFY still has both his bursts, so that could be a little bit of a problem for us. I don't know if it will be a huge issue, but look, it definitely could be, as lUFFY's burst is insanely powerful. It's sort of designed to counteract stuff like Roger and any character that can give half stats. Lucky for us, we don't have to worry about that really, but it still does a butt ton of damage, like an absolute butt ton of damage. This is one of the side teams that I've seen running around. Kuzan and Roger, very powerful units. That way you can keep Odin on your free spirit team, and that works out quite nicely there. We are going to take the burst straight off the bat. Look how much damage that does. That is almost 50% of every single one of our characters' HP. Just off rip, if you win the first fight. The AI will always pop the burst moving into the second fight if you win the first. It's like an AI coding that, like, holy crap, we're losing. We need to, like, pop the burst. Let's send it and go from there. Now, as you can see, still no power attacks, none at all for lUFFY YAMATO. So that's a little bit of an issue, as we don't have a burst, and any character that doesn't have a burst is at an immediate disadvantage to a character that does, and it's what makes the best characters the best. Roger, Ultra 6++, this new lUFFY, Gear 5, Zoro, even Sanji up there as some of the best leaders. Now, lUFFY YAMATO, though, they have the luxury of probably having the best passive in the game. They boost the team, which is they're the only unit to do that really with their passive. I do believe other units do it, but like it's not really at the same level as what lUFFY YAMATO do. This is basically a wrap now. Taking 2 lUFFY bursts in a fight, it's not good, but the upside to that is it means that our free spirit team is in a really good spot on the final fight, so that way we don't have to worry about taking the burst. The new Psy team, Psy in Grand Party, has always been quite scary because of stuff like burst abilities, like extra stats. I'm still not a huge fan of Psy. it's always been a rule for me that whenever I use Psy, I get absolutely destroyed. However, when I verse Psy, they have a tendency to absolutely destroy me. So, we'll have to wait and see when we do the Gear 5 Luffy part of Grand Party. So, that'll be coming sometime soon. But let me know in the comment section below who you guys want to see for the next Grand Party video. For the moment, I think I'm going to do Sanji again. I really enjoy Sanji. I think Sanji's definitely going to be a shout. We'll definitely be doing Gear 5. We might do some stuff with Zoro. Zoro's been a really, really fun leader. I do like Zoro a lot. And then we have room for another unit. So let me know down below. Maybe Roger again. Roger is still the king in my eyes. He's still very, very good. So the final team we're coming up against is a Slasher build. And Slashers, whilst they're not getting super boosted under a rule set and Gear 5 isn't really buffing them, they are probably the best class team in the game. In Grand Party, I find they're not as strong as what they are in regular Rumble, just from more stats and other stuff here and there. But they can still tussle, and with strength being boosted at the moment, so stuff like Odin and K-Dad getting buffs, stuff like Dex being boosted, so Ashura Zoro will be getting buffs. Plus, with the rule set buffing free spirit characters, means that you do have a lot of characters on that Slasher team getting a lot of extra stats. Roger Whitebeard is still a massive threat, and if Roger Whitebeard took out Luffy Yamato right there, which, like, honestly was so close to doing, we could have been in a really, really bad spot. Like, a really, really bad spot. Lucky for us, though, Odin does manage to bind a bunch of units. K-Dad... Oh, K-Dad hits Luffy Yamato. I was like, as long as K-Dad doesn't hit Luffy Yamato here. Yo, do we actually pull this off without our Luffy Yamato? As you can see, though, our burst ability is getting higher and higher. And I think at this point, this is where I start to go, okay, let's not run Strikers first. Let's run Free Spirits first. Because having that burst available for us, for the other two teams, can be a lot more beneficial than just having it available just for Free Spirit. Plus, if we think it in a Free Spirit fight, we can build it up back up. But look, getting that to come back around, look, it's very unlikely. Right, Sanji's going to hit there. Sanji does some nice damage, gives us some good cooldowns. We have Rebecca Toy Soldier on the bench of this team, which is great when we're coming up against Slashers. Odin does some good blinding there. Shurazori should kill a unit here. Yeah, see you later, Rebecca Toy Soldier. Bye. King at the back end of a fight can be absolutely terrifying. So, this is actually a very interesting fight. I do remember all these fights being like, holy crap, if this was the last day, I would be sweating balls. Wow, we actually take... Wow, we win this? We actually win this? Do we not even get the burst? It's a 2-on-2 right here. This is where Zoro's counters come in absolute demon mode. Oh, Sanji might go absolute ballistic here though. Okay. Some scattered damage. Oh no. Oh, see you later, King. 8,000 damage! Oh, we got the burst to finish it off. I think the counter would have done it, but yeah, the counter did. 6,000 damage there. You love to see that. That is tight. Way too tight. Like I said, I was quite intoxicated doing these fights. It was day one, so I wasn't overly stressed, but let's move on to the next fight. Holy. Alright, fight number 2 against Mimi and another Gear 5 build. The upside to Gear 5 is you know that it's going to be a Psy team, and you can always just put a sacrificial team against Psy. And I feel like that's what my Dex team was. It's bulky enough to take 2 bursts and then just lose anyway, but it had enough bulk to survive the first one. So that way you can be taken out by the second one. Now, Strength is an interesting option this season, as Strength is getting boosted as well as Free Spirits. You have stuff like Odin, you have stuff like Marigold, Boa, Sandersonia. Jack is a fighter, so he's getting boosted too. King's a fighter, so he's up there getting buffed as well. So you have to be careful with Strength running around. Stuff like Straw Hat Crew V2 could definitely see some play as well as Kid just being an absolute demon. But with Strikers, they have access to some of those units as well. You have Jack obviously on the Strike team, Kid on the Strike team. Roger Whitebeard just goes absolutely ballistic. And at this point, I still wasn't smart enough to swap my Free Spirit and my Striker team around. Like I said, Luffy Yamato getting access to their burst makes them a lot better. But when you don't have the burst, it doesn't really do too much for you. So utilizing Free Spirits first would definitely be the play if you are using Luffy Yamato. If you're watching this video going, damn, I want to try Luffy Yamato, make sure your Free Spirit team goes first. Like, just make sure you flick that around. You definitely want to make sure you're doing that. But strikers are still very, very good. They can get the job done very nicely. And as you can see, they can polish off strength teams like with absolute ease. The second team we know is going to be Psy. I like to put my teams in a sense of this is how I would run them if I didn't see what was coming. So I did know that there was going to be a Psy team there. Obviously, I can see what it is, but I didn't check the teams. I never do, just because like if I do that, it kind of makes me second guess myself at the back end. And this side team is running Enel. Interesting. Now, Enel is going to absolutely decimate our slashes. And not a bad option, seeing as we have Pell and Dalton. Notable outs that they have is Momo, the new Momo. A lot of people probably don't have, seeing as this part 1 was only out at this particular point. Maybe once part 3 comes around, more people will be running Momo. I have tested Momo in PvP with Gear 5, and they work quite nicely. But again, I'm just not a huge fan of the side team. In regular Rumble. In Grand Party, I think it's a different story. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see how that looks once we get to the back end of Grand Party. We might do some like risky testing early and sort of just quit some matches and whatnot. Literally just run Psy up front and just see how we go. But Gear 5 does have an ability where he does 4,500 damage. And he does a butt ton of damage, which really helps out his burst ability. His burst then goes crazy, and Dex just takes an absolute beating. The amount of damage he can do through defensive effects is absolutely nuts. Now, the idea here is because we've won the first fight, the AI system is still going to use the second burst no matter what. Now, Luffy's ability is built up around dealing damage, which the Psy team is very, very good at doing. So hopefully we see another burst here. Burst? We do. That is actually perfect. And this is a way you can get around Luffy and the AI system. And I think a big reason why I had my Dex team second was because Dex can easily tank that first shot and then stall them out long enough to tank the second shot to guarantee you a win for the first and the third fight. I think that's my thinking when I was doing this. But again, I wasn't smart enough to register that only power attacks are being done by my Free Spirit team, not by either of the other two teams. We don't get a single power attack off with either of the other two teams. So just Stump, swap your Striker and your Free Spirit around, my guy. Swap them around. Please. Please, I'm begging you. Begging you. Oh my days. Alright, so all reliable Free Spirit now at the back end is always a lot of fun. We still have two of our bursts, sort of, where they have none. And then I'm versing a Dex team. So Dex is doing really good. But I think Dex is at the point now where it's starting to fall off so drastically. However, they are buffed in this rule set, so I do understand why a lot of people are using them. But with like Free Spirit, Slashes, and Strikers being so prevalent in the meta right now, and Psy, now that like we've got Momo and Gear 5, I don't think Dex is the wave. I think just replacing... Oh, we actually got our power attacks off that early. That's crazy. I didn't even notice that. That's nuts. I think Dex is at a point now where you're just utilizing it for a purpose, like I was using mine to tank the Gear 5 shots. Or you're at a point where like you've invested so heavily in Dex and you're a mid to early game player and you don't have that much variety on your account, which is totally understandable because Dex is great. Like Dex is still really good. But I think for the high echelon of players that may be watching this video, Dex is at a point where you really have to question where you're putting your Dex team, because one, there's going to be no quick running around this season. Strength is being buffed, so you could probably see some strength, and fighters definitely have a lot of strength units as well. Same with like Free Spirits and Slashes and stuff. So Dex might be in a spot for this season or for future seasons that you, like I said, you really want to question where they're sitting, because like as you can see, like they're doing absolutely nothing to our Free Spirit team. Like they've barely even chipped them, and we've still got 30 defense. We've taken out multiple of their units. We have Luffy Yamato sitting at a really good spot. Luffy Yamato has a special ready to go. Odin's doing damage. Roger's nerfing. We're getting CT with Sanji. Yeah, at this particular point, it's an absolute wrap. Luffy Yamato goes absolutely berserk here. Basically does kill their entire team. And you can say sayonara from there. So that was match number 2. Let's move on to match number 3 now. Against an old friend. A compadre by the name of Jin-san. Oh my days, he went and did it! He listened to me! He switched the free spirit of the striker team! It's like he learned after all those fights. It must have been that last fight where I got the burst off like that quickly. I must have just stopped for a second and gone, wait a second. Free spirits is the only team that's giving me a burst? Why the hell am I running strikers first? Makes zero sense to me. So, we've gone ahead and we've put free spirit first. I love that. Good job, Past Stump. You just do some good shit sometimes, Drunk Stump. I like you a lot. We'll keep you around. So, the first fight is against Sai, and we are using our free spirit team. This is actually a little bit scary, if I'm honest, but they're not going to have the Luffy burst. At least I don't think they will. Sai can output tons of damage very, very quickly, especially with Yamato. But from the look of Jin's team, he's not actually utilizing Yamato, which is kind of nuts. Law, Luffy, Rebecca Toy Soldier, Kuzan. I can understand Kuzan, but running Law is very intriguing to me. I don't know if Law is the play, but Law is still a phenomenal unit to get cooldowns. And with Luffy, Gear 5 being just an absolute demon at damage output, 4,500 damage to like a large range of units is just actually insane. You can build up that Luffy burst really, really fast. The upside to versing the AI system is they're not going to bink it on the first fight. However, when you're utilizing Gear 5, I feel like that's probably what Jin's trying to do. He's trying to build up his burst quickly so that way he has access to it in the second fight. And then just relying on like all of this fixed damage that he's got going on to just absolutely tear through teams. Now, with his Odin, if he's Odin action binded a lot more on my units, we could have been in a really tight spot. Now that we have our burst, I should probably like just bink this right here. And that way we do a butt ton of damage and just start taking out some of Jin's units. But I don't for some reason. Especially with the knowledge that... Okay, there goes the Yamato. Especially with the knowledge that Free Spirit's the only team that can build up the burst. I really should pop that here. Like now would be a fantastic time to do that, Stump. Like right now would be a terrific... Maybe I'm looking at this in the sense of like maybe I can just get the dub and hold on to it for another fight. But this is looking real tight. Like, if Odin took that shot there or got action binded or something like that, we would have been in a real tough spot. Rebecca Toy Soldier are going to hit a lot of units there, which is great. But there's some crazy nukers in the back there too. Interesting bench options. Like, I'm pretty sure we've got this in the bag now, but if he binks that, if he was playing and he binked that burst a little bit earlier, which as a player you definitely would, we'd be in for a really tight fight. I think, yeah, okay, there's the burst. I think in the later fights, I'm definitely going to use that burst a lot sooner, because if King came in with a special there and we had a little bit worse RNG, that would definitely be an L for us. 100% be an L for us, man. So I can go absolutely crazy. I think you kind of have to bring... Wow. How the hell do I win that? That is crazy. Very lucky in that fight. Holy dooly. Yeah, 100% should have binked that burst a little bit earlier and then tried to build it back up. But at the same time, like, we managed to get the dub there. I wonder if the burst actually helps us in one of the later fights. We'll have to wait and see. Because like I said, I don't really remember these fights at all. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I barely remember them. I remember I fought Jin, but like, I could barely remember these fights. It's crazy. Alright, so the second fight is against the Slasher team. This is definitely a wave for Gear 5 because there's a lot of free spirit characters on the Slasher team. Odin, K-Dad, both being strength as well. Doflamingo is an interesting shout. Great defensive option, but with Shank's crew, you're pretty set up defensively anyway. This Dex team is pretty much destined to lose against this team. Slashers, like I said, Slashers, Strikers, Free Spirits, even Psy now is just... They have way too much damage output, and with all the extra stats that Grand Party gives, they just do way too well. And I just think that Dex is really struggling now. It's starting to really struggle. As it doesn't have the speed. One, the damage numbers in Grand Party are a lot higher than regular Rumble. And Decks can't really sort of keep up with that, unfortunately. Again, doesn't mean they're bad. Doesn't mean I dislike them. I just think that with the class teams running around nowadays, you're just better off running stuff like Slashes and Free Spirits and stuff like that. So, that's what it is. They are doing quite nicely here tanking. Brook is keeping us alive, which is great. However, we are definitely going to take that second Luffy burst, which is absolutely fine because, like I said, we've pretty much conceded at this this fight anyway, and that's more than okay. More than okay, because this is gonna give the Luffy the burst. They're gonna bink the burst straight away. Luffy's gonna do 2.4 times his attack in damage that goes through defensive effects, which is nuts, like actually nuts, and basically, now they're just going to get all their specials back and absolutely destroy us. Apologies about that. Dofi did some good damage there, but Dofi needs his special a little bit later. Honestly, we could bink the burst now and we'd be in a really good spot. But now that K-Dad's gone off, it's game. K-Dad does so much damage, man. If we use the burst there, I actually don't think K-Dad would have died. So I feel like not using it there was actually the play. However, we should have used it on the earlier fight to guarantee us the win there, because that fight was way too close. Way too close. Disgustingly close, one would say. Yeah, see, okay, cool. Good job, Drunk Stump. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Skip that shit. Get it out of here. Move on to the next one. Alright. Itchy nose. The final fight. We have my striker team up against what seems to be, another Dex team, which is interesting. A Slasher-centric Dex team? I guess. I have seen Mihawk being used quite a bit, because he's a free spirit too, so interesting selection of units. This is where I'm like, what does the burst even do? I feel like this is me just reading the burst, like, okay, what does it even do? I've never used it before. I mean, I used it that previous fight, but I just binked it, because, like, I don't even know. It seems like it does a bunch of damage, so I think my plan here was to wait for Kid to go off, and then I was planning on using it after that. However, I don't think I need it for this fight. I feel like utilizing it on that first fight was definitely the move. As Roger Whitebeard is just going to absolutely tear through units here. Brook's going to heal back up, but like the healing's going to be nowhere near as much as our damage output, especially once Kid goes and Sasaki goes. The damage output's going to be absolutely crazy. So Tesoro does a lot of fixed damage as well. Even though they are Dex, so they don't take as much, 2,400 is still a lot. And that's what makes Gear 5 so crazy, right? Gear 5 doing all the damage that he does. The 4,500 fixed damage to the large range. I wish it was all units and he was immune to half stats, or like that he had a bit more. But man, that unit is like, with his burst, is kind of nuts. There we go, we use the burst now. 4 times attack, 4 times attack. They didn't take that much damage. Like, they didn't take that much damage at all. And that, again, that's the upside to Dex. Dex is so tanky that you can sort of utilize them to, like, take these types of bursts. Stuff like Zoro, stuff like Gear 5, stuff like Luffy Yamato, stuff like Sanji even. You can definitely utilize Dex to sort of be that wall that you need to sort of guarantee you a removal of burst for the opposition. But that's going to wrap up the video. Huge shout out to Jinsan for the for the feature in the video. I'm glad I thought I lost this footage, so I'm really glad that we managed to find a bit. Let me know how you guys are finding Grand Party in the comment section below. While you're down there, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.